For centuries, men have struggled to understand women. They appear gentle, affectionate, and deeply loving, yet just as quickly, their emotions shift, their loyalty fades, and their desires move elsewhere. To many men, this feels like betrayal, but it isn't betrayal, it's instinct. Women are not governed by permanence. They are governed by survival. What looks like love everlasting is often a temporary arrangement designed to secure advantage. Every man remembers the moment he realized a woman's love isn't always forever. One day she clings to you as though you're her world. The next, she flirts with someone else as if you never mattered. Painful as it is, this is not random cruelty, it's biology. Women are wired to keep scanning the horizon for the best possible option, because for thousands of years, their survival depended on choosing wisely and switching when necessary. Modern culture sells us the dream of unconditional love. Movies, music, and social media repeat the fairy tale. If you give her everything, she'll stay forever. But men who believe this are the ones who break hardest when reality arrives. Women love deeply, yes, but their love is conditional. It depends on how much security, status, and strength you provide. The moment those conditions falter, her heart begins to drift elsewhere. This is why men feel blindsided by ghosting, sudden breakups, or the infamous, "I just don't feel the same anymore." To a man, these moments feel like betrayal. To a woman, they feel natural. She is following instincts older than civilization. If a better deal appears, she must take it. If her current partner falters, she must protect herself. Love to her is not eternal devotion. It is a strategy for survival. The harsh truth is that women optimize. They are not necessarily liars, they are adapters. Their emotions can shift overnight, not because they are cruel, but because their instincts rewrite their truths in real time. She may believe she loves you today, and she may genuinely mean it. But if tomorrow she sees greater value elsewhere, her emotions can reset without warning. To men, this feels like deception. To women, it feels like honesty. Men often misunderstand this dynamic because they project their own desires onto women. Men crave permanence, loyalty, legacy, stability. Women, however, crave security, resources, protection, advantage. While a man says, "I want her forever," she is thinking, "I want what keeps me safest right now." This mismatch is why so many relationships collapse. One side seeks eternal devotion. The other side seeks constant optimization, and nature favors her instincts. This survival mechanism is why women have evolved extraordinary tools: beauty to attract, emotional intelligence to persuade, tears to disarm, silence to punish, innocence to manipulate advantage. None of this is necessarily conscious, it is instinctual. She doesn't always know she's doing it. Yet these tools work so effectively that men often surrender without even realizing. They adapt their behavior, compromise their standards, and sacrifice themselves to maintain affection. Have you ever noticed how a woman rarely argues with logic? Instead, she appeals to emotion. She doesn't demand directly, she withdraws affection until you chase her. She doesn't shout, she cries. Each reaction pulls you deeper into compliance. These are not random quirks. They are tactics sharpened by evolution. While men fight with reason or fists, women fight with feelings. And the battlefield of emotions is one most men never prepare for. This is why countless men feel drained in relationships. They keep giving, apologizing, and adjusting, hoping to earn permanent affection. But affection is not permanent. It flows only as long as you remain useful. The moment you stop serving her needs, whether emotional, financial, or social, the warmth fades. Too many men believe this means they failed. In reality, they succeeded at being loyal in a system that never promised loyalty in return. A woman's loyalty is not primarily to her partner. It is to her survival and to her children. This is why men often feel replaced so easily. To her, securing the best chance for survival outweighs personal promises. She may once have loved you sincerely, but if circumstances change, her instincts take over. It's not cruelty, it's nature. And unless a man understands this, he will always feel betrayed by forces he never saw coming. This instinct has a name in modern psychology: hypergamy. It's the quiet law behind many heartbreaks, sudden divorces, and confusing breakups. Hypergamy is the tendency for women to seek the highest value man available, not just physically but socially and financially. If her partner cannot maintain value, she feels restless. If a higher value option appears, she feels drawn to him. This isn't proof she's unfaithful by character, it's proof she's faithful to her instincts. Studies confirm what men have observed for centuries. Women consistently rate ambition, resources, and social status as more important than men do. Even attraction shifts with her cycle, favoring dominance and strength when fertility peaks. Men, by contrast, are simpler. They seek beauty, youth, and loyalty. This mismatch creates endless frustration. Men want permanence, women want advantage. And until a man understands this, he'll mistake instinctual shifts for personal betrayal. This doesn't mean women are evil. It means they are survivors. In ancient times, choosing the wrong partner could mean starvation or death. Nature rewarded the woman who selected wisely, who adapted when conditions changed, who sought protection even at the cost of loyalty. Those instincts remain today. A man may see her choices as fickle, but to her they are logical. They are the same strategies that allowed her ancestors to survive. This survival drive explains why women initiate most divorces. It explains why stable marriages still dissolve under the pressure of restlessness or dissatisfaction. It explains why ghosting and silent treatment are not rare mistakes but common patterns. A woman isn't always lying when she says she loves you. In that moment, she means it. But when her instincts detect a better path, her truth rewrites itself. Men call it betrayal, nature calls it adaptation. Modern dating only accelerates this process. With apps and social media, women have access to more options than ever before. A higher status man is just a swipe away. The instinct to upgrade, once subtle, now operates at lightning speed. Men who offer unconditional loyalty in this environment are often discarded. They cling to the fantasy of permanence, while women follow the reality of optimization. The result is a culture of disposable love and endless searching. This is why men feel punished by silence, guilt, or sudden withdrawal. Women rarely fight with fists or logic. They fight with emotions. They know a man's desire for affection makes him pliable. By withholding warmth, they can steer his behavior without saying a word. He finds himself apologizing, sacrificing, bending to her moods. And when he finally breaks, she feels justified, because from her perspective, his weakness proved he wasn't worthy of her loyalty. These behaviors are not always conscious. A woman doesn't wake up plotting emotional traps. Instead, her instincts express themselves naturally. Tears, silence, withdrawal. These become tools of influence without her needing to plan them. The man, desperate for her affection, trains himself to comply. He thinks he's loving her. In reality, he's being conditioned. And once his usefulness fades, the affection disappears, leaving him confused, broken, and wondering what he did wrong. The painful truth is he didn't do anything wrong. He simply believed in permanence where none existed. He confused instinctual behavior for unconditional love. He gave endlessly, not realizing her approval was never about selfless devotion but about value. When that value expired, so did her affection. Men call this heartbreak. But in reality, it's biology completing its course. Until men see this, they will remain victims of illusions they were trained to believe. Men today often feel lost because they were raised on illusions. They were told women love unconditionally, that patience and sacrifice guarantee loyalty. But this is not how female nature works. A woman's affection is not endless, it is conditional. And when those conditions stop being met, she moves on. Men who don't understand this believe they failed. But the truth is, they simply trusted a myth that never existed in reality. This is why so many men crumble after breakups or divorces. They gave everything: time, effort, money, devotion, believing it would keep her forever. When she leaves, they don't just lose her. They lose themselves because their identity was built on her approval. This is the silent trap men fall into, living as servants of affection. Once affection disappears, they feel empty, powerless, and stripped of meaning. But this collapse comes from illusion, not truth. The system is designed against men who don't see reality. Divorce courts drain them, custody battles erase them, and dating apps make their loyalty worthless. Yet still, men cling to the idea that more giving equals more love. But giving without boundaries does not attract devotion. It attracts dependency, and dependency is fragile. The moment she finds someone who offers more, the dependency breaks. Men who bet everything on love discover too late it was never guaranteed. But there is another way. The solution is not anger nor bitterness, it is clarity. A man who understands women doesn't hate them, he adjusts. He no longer gives blindly. He no longer mistakes affection for permanence. He stops trying to buy loyalty with endless sacrifice. Instead, he keeps his center strong. He recognizes love for what it is, real in the moment, but always conditional. With this mindset, heartbreak no longer destroys him. A man who lives with clarity sees patterns where others see chaos. He notices when affection becomes a tool of control. He recognizes silence as a tactic, not a mystery. He sees that loyalty depends on value, not promises. And instead of collapsing when it ends, he stands firm. He doesn't chase, beg, or plead. He knows the truth. Love is powerful, but it is not unconditional. And with that awareness, he becomes untouchable. Such a man can still love deeply, but he never loses himself in that love. He can give without becoming a servant. He can commit without becoming blind. He can enjoy affection without relying on it for identity. This balance makes him strong. Women respect him because he cannot be manipulated easily. And even if she leaves, he remains whole. He doesn't collapse into despair because his worth was never tied to her loyalty. This strength is what women secretly test for. When she withdraws affection, she is watching. Will he panic? Will he chase? Will he lose himself? If he does, she confirms he is weak, and her attraction fades further. But if he stands firm, calm, and unshaken, her respect grows. Women don't consciously plan these tests, but instinct drives them. They are searching for a man who can't be controlled by emotion. That's the man they trust most. So the greatest mistake a man can make is apologizing for his masculinity. When he hides his standards, suppresses his instincts, or bends endlessly to please, he becomes disposable. Women may enjoy his devotion for a time, but eventually they feel no respect. They seek strength, not submission, and when they no longer feel it, they drift away. A man who sacrifices himself for love does not win devotion. He loses both her and himself. The man who resists illusion is free. He no longer expects what nature never promised. He understands that women's instincts will always seek security, advantage, and survival. He doesn't hate this, he accepts it. And because he accepts it, he cannot be blindsided. When she stays, he enjoys it. When she leaves, he remains whole. He doesn't cling to fantasy, he lives in reality. And in that clarity, he finds the strength that most men never discover. A woman is not your savior, not your therapist, not your mother. She is a creature of instinct, mood, and shifting loyalty. This doesn't make her wicked, it makes her human. But when a man forgets this and hands over his identity for affection, he destroys himself. The tragedy of modern men is not that women change, but that men refuse to see it coming. They prefer the dream of forever, even if it blinds them to reality. Once a man understands women as they are, not as he wishes them to be, he becomes dangerous in the best way. He stops apologizing for his strength. He stops negotiating his worth. He no longer trades his dignity for temporary comfort. Instead, he sets standards, holds his line, and protects his energy. And ironically, this clarity makes him more attractive because women respect the man who doesn't crumble under pressure. Women test men constantly, often without knowing it. They test his patience, his strength, his boundaries. If he fails, attraction fades. If he passes, respect deepens. These tests are instinctual. They are not games, but survival strategies. A woman must know if he is stable enough to follow, and only the man who refuses to collapse under emotion earns that trust. This is why clarity and self-control are the ultimate masculine weapons. The moment you stop needing constant validation, you become unshakable. You can love her smile, enjoy her company, and share her world, but you never lose your center. You never let her approval define you. When she withdraws affection, you remain steady. When she pushes boundaries, you enforce them calmly. This composure makes you sovereign. It makes you a man she cannot control, and paradoxically, the man she feels safest with. Men who live this way don't fear being alone. They know solitude is better than slavery. They would rather walk alone in strength than kneel for affection that can vanish overnight. And because they are not desperate, they attract with abundance. They don't cling to one woman as their entire identity. They choose carefully, walk away easily, and never lose themselves. In a world where most men collapse, they stand ungovernable. This is not hatred, it is wisdom. To understand female nature is not to despise it, but to accept it without illusions. A woman is not your enemy, but neither is she your unconditional protector. She is guided by instinct, by survival, by advantage. And when you know this, you stop blaming her for being what she is. You stop offering blind trust. You learn to love with awareness, not fantasy. That is real strength. A man who reaches this point no longer fears heartbreak. He knows affection is fragile, loyalty conditional, and attraction fleeting. But instead of collapsing, he adapts. He learns to love without dependency, to give without slavery, to walk away without breaking. He becomes sovereign, whole, and free. Women may come and go, but his identity remains untouched. And in this strength, he finally discovers what most men never do: true freedom. So do not become bitter, become clear. Do not become cold, become wise. Love women for what they are, not what the fairy tale promised. They will test you, shift on you, and sometimes leave you. But if you understand their nature, you will never be broken by it. You will love with strength, live with clarity, and stand unshaken. Because the man who sees women as they are is the man who no longer fears them. He masters himself.